Just a couple of best friends hanging out, best friends hanging out, best friends hanging out.
Yeah, the champ is here. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, to the, quote, People's Pod. I'm doing air quotes. There's no video, but you can definitely see that. So thanks to Karen Beaver and Colin Grawl and their pod. And just for a tip, to all you noobs out there, when the red light is on, your recording is live. So maybe tell the peanut gallery to hit them with one of those, and also maybe start your podcast. And it's always nice to record second, so then I can call out all the topical bullshit from your podcast, which is generally about 70 or 80% slander, 20% fun, and 10% noise from the room and other people rambling. So I listened to a lot of it, but then I saw it was about the length of a Marvel movie, so I stopped listening to it around 30 minutes because it, what was it, 90 minutes or some shit like that? At least 85. Far too long, boys. Got to cut that down. Trim, clip. All right. And thank you, Brad. I would like your podcast as well. I appreciate that little quip in the beginning. Left them shook and speechless, which is basically what my podcast does to them every week. All right, so in Stewart land, it was a good week. Let's start out just by saying I had to fire my gardeners, Mr. and Mrs. Tran. Mrs. Tran thought it would be a good idea to bring the old leaf blower out and, like, blow all the dirt in our yard directly onto the little small parcel of land that is my garden, which was complete trash. I was completely frustrated by it. And I don't know if you guys know this. I've been basically like balls deep in gardening now, so that's my thing. And apparently there's a lot of pathogens and disease and fungal infections and shit that's carried by the dirt. So when it's blown onto the leaves of the plants, it really fucks them up. So I've been fighting fungal infections and just overall disease in my garden now for the past week. So I had to fire the trans. There are no more trans allowed in our house. This is a no trans household as of now. So thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Tran, but you're no longer welcome here after diseasing my garden and fucking it up completely. Another thing is the weed plants are a little bit sad. Two of them started turning all brown. It's weird. This little brown stripe appeared in the middle of the leaves, and then they just started crinkling and looking like pure shit. So we Googled it, and it turned out that they're vitamin deficient. So now we've been bathing them in vitamins and really hoping that they come back to life. So 2 of the 6 plants that I have are looking sad, but they're looking a little happier. I pruned the heck out of them, and it looks like they're going to rebound. So that was my week in gardening. In fantasy football, I had a great week. I started out with some awesome garbage time, Deshaun Watson. You love to see it. He had I think 6 points going into the halfway mark of the fourth quarter, and then he got a passing touchdown in complete garbage time. They were down so much, I thought they were going to pull him. I was like, there's no way that they're going to trot Deshaun out there again, and if he gets hurt, their season's fucked. But they trotted him out, and then he trotted into the end zone. So it was just an awesome garbage time performance by Deshaun Watson. The garbage man can, and he did. So I kind of had a really tough week from my defense and kicker. I combined 9 points, but other than that, I thought I did pretty well. Everyone basically performed the way that I wanted them to. Let me take a look. Give or take. I mean, obviously, you want more touchdowns. I didn't get a ton of touchdowns from my main guys. So let's see what I had here. I had Robinson. He had 74 receiving yards, which isn't what I drafted him in the second round to do. But he also had, I think, 9 targets. So you got to take what you can get. And Chark was definitely disappointing, but he got that touchdown. But it was such a weird game script. I think Minshew was 19 of 20, which is insane. But they didn't really need to pass the ball a ton. So Chark didn't get the play and the run he wanted, but he did get 10 points, so I'll take it. Excuse me. All right. As for A.J. Brown, that's something that was a little bit nerve-wracking going into the week. He was questionable, I think, all week, but then there was like zero updates on him. So I had to kind of figure it out. And A.J. Brown, he did have 8 targets, so he shared the target share lead with Corey Davis, who, surprise, surprise, is on Max's team. So he also he had this touchdown catch he should have had in the very end of the game. It looked like it was perfect over-the-shoulder pass. Should have been right in his hands. He just whiffed on it. He looked like me and Beer Die. It was tough to watch, and he had 6.4, so that was definitely a low point for me. Darren Waller also only had 7.5, but he had 8 targets, and it looked like, I think he was a target leader on the team, and it looked like they were designing plays for him, and once they realized that they could just run with impunity, they kind of went away from the passing game. So my dogs hit, McCaffrey hit, Carson hit, Deshaun Watson hit, and even Anthony Miller, who everyone was talking shit about, got 15 points on 6 targets, 76 yards, and a touchdown. And my bench was going off, too. I had 16 points from the Lazard, 10 from Alexander Madison. Tyler Higbee was disappointing for sure. Trade block. Giovanni Bernard, disappointing for sure, but he's more of a handcuff than anything. And then Adrian Peterson, who I panicked hard. I was trying to pick Robbie Anderson, didn't realize he was already picked on draft day. So I panicked and picked Adrian Peterson. And he got 12 points. And it looks like he's going to be one of the many backs in that offense. I think he'll probably go game script dependent. I think if they're on passing downs, he won't play for shit. But if they're running the ball a ton, I think he'll get the bulk of the carries. And then I was a Malcolm Brown hipster with 24 points. I think, 18 carries. I think he might have led my whole team. Oh, no, Christian had more carries, 23, but very close. Carson, I'm a little worried about because he only had 6 carries, but he did get some receptions, which he's not known for. Anyway, good fantasy week for me. Started off with the old championship shot. God, that's going to be fucking tough to say. Championship shot. And that was a new development. I did it when I accepted the trophy. And if my fiance doesn't judge me too much, I'm probably going to sneak it in around 9:45 every single week if I can. Still missing in action is the toilet bowl trophy. Haven't seen it. Would like to see it. Would also like to see Sean at least take a shot of White Claw or whatever the fuck he drinks nowadays out of that thing. So please do that. And yes, I am a two-time shotgun bet loser. The first one was brutal. It was 4th and inches, I think in Raider territory. If not, it was right on the other side of the 50. We're driving. No one can stop anyone in this game. We punted 1 time the entire game. So it was pretty frustrating to, instead of seeing you live and die with your best player, maybe the best running back in the league, you decide to instead do the exact same play that you did in almost the exact same situation, 3rd and a foot, earlier in the game, where they kind of do that thing where they just hand it to the fullback rather than pitching it out to McCaffrey in space and let him dance all over that shit defense. But they didn't do that, so we got stuffed because we ran the same play out of the same formation in the same down and, well, not down, but same situation because it wasn't 4-down territory before. But that was really frustrating. Another Panthers news. Robbie Anderson is not the lead wide receiver. It's definitely DJ Moore, but Robbie Anderson was taking advantage of his opportunities for sure. I like Robbie Anderson. I have a lot of Robbie Anderson shares. So I started off. Adam and Noel actually came over. It was a lot of fun. We went and bought a ton more White Claw, 30 rack, gummies, Ruffles, kombuchas, champagne, mimosas, and came back and decided to start playing villainous for the Niner game. And the Niners were depleted, to say the least. Although, I will say, I think it was the go-ahead touchdown drive for the Cardinals, there were 3 or 4 of the worst calls I've ever seen against the Niner defense. So, not sure the Cardinals entirely deserved that victory, but they got it nonetheless. And they look good. I mean, I thought Kyler looked so fast. He looked like freaking Barry Sanders out there. Who said that last time? It was, they called Lamar Jackson Barry Sanders last year, and I was like, what the fuck? But I was actually thinking how fast Kyler Murray looked. So they have someone there. Not sure he's going to be the best fantasy quarterback in the league, but I think he's going to be top 5. He's really good. So there you go, Pebbles. Your team isn't as bad as you think. I think he's going to outperform Deshaun Watson by the looks of it. He has all the weapons. I was wrong about DeAndre Hopkins so far. He was a monster. I think career high in targets, so should probably see that go down, or as everyone says, regress to the mean. So there you go. And the other shotgun bet I lost was against Bacon, where we bet basically point totals, my team versus his team. And I lost by .04, which is brutal, especially considering all the drops that A.J. Brown had. Just one of those, I would have been handling the lead. But I am currently on the Eric Dalkey alcoholism path, where I abstain completely during the week and then black out on the weekend. So I will atone for Bacon's destruction of my team by .04 points on Sunday. All right. And for the record, again, about Brown, he was questionable leading up to the week, so that's probably why he looked all hobbled, Colin. And yeah, he did share the target lead, so not a bust. Not willing to bust him yet. Busting does not feel good when it's your player. And now this gets to be my Andrew Pebley victory lap here. It was not Pebley who presented any actual numbers. It was all Hart. He was like he was basically like the far left here. It was all feelings for Pebley. He was like, I feel like we never sack Kyler, and I feel like we never sack Russ, and I feel like when we do, it's for like 1 yard. All right, time to pull out the numbers. So I finally got a stat over Pebley, and the People's Pod gave me no hashtag credit. So here we go. Basically, the Niners sacked those 2 quarterbacks 13 total times last year over 4 games. And with 16 games in a season, if you multiply 13 by 4, you get 52 sacks, which would be good for second best in the league. So if they played each of those teams 8 times each, they would be projected to get 52 sacks, which would be second in the league. I think tied with the Panthers and second behind only the Steelers 54 in 2019. So now Pebley is like, but it's only for like 1 yard, and my running back is like basically the same as them and all that kind of thing. Well, this next stat is kind of like hitting you with the people's elbow right after I dropped you with the rock bottom. You did that thing where I toss you against where you toss me against the ropes, and then I toss you against the ropes. You, for some reason, try to clothesline me, whip around 180 degrees. I hit you with the rock bottom, and now I'm going to hit you with the people's elbow. Kyler Murray was sacked 4 times for 19 yards one game and 3 times for 37 yards the other game, and that's a total of 8 yards per sack. And then Russ was sacked 1 time for 10 yards and then 5 times for 43 yards. And that is, I think I did the stats wrong here. Let me do it one more time. All right. So here we go. What is 10 plus 43 is 53 divided by 6. That's 8.83 yards per sack on Russ. So no, you're not sacking them for 1 yard. I tried to do even one more stat better, where I tried to look up the average sack yards lost, and I couldn't find it fast enough. So there you go. Completely disproved. it's always good to get a stats win over Pebley, especially when you're a BA in music and he's a doctor, PhD in materials. So there you go. Had to take that victory lap. So we're getting to the point where people are starting to settle into their team names, and I am settling into my team name. I'll admit I did not love my team name. I had to go with something topical because I was just scanning my roster and could not think of anything clever. So I just decided to go with a league meme, and I'd be your atonement, as if I am your punishment, your lime, so to speak, for when you play me. So I am your atonement. I'm not going to rank my name because, of course, I think my name is better than a lot of people's, but that's not really fair to say. It's not really objective to say, although this is all subjective, so fuck it. Fuck me, right? So here we go. I'm going to start with what I thought is the worst team name, and I could also it could be totally going over my head. But maybe I'm right. All right. So I guess my least favorite name is Men's Zerling. It is brutal, Brad. But I guess that's almost the charm of it. It's almost like the Joik store. It's just so bad that it ruffles feathers, and the feathers are so ruffled it might become a legendary bad name. Who knows? But you have the little red guy pushing what do they even call those? Stones? He's riding that thing just like you're riding the 1 week success of Mostert. And dude, I don't know about Kamara. He had 16 rushing yards on 12 attempts, which is a brutal stat. Might not bode well for my boy Christian this week. But anyway, Men's Zerling is my least favorite name. I have that ranked 11th because I'm only ranking 11. And the next one I have is Cookie Crisps. It's like, okay, I understand that you have Dalvin Cook, Cookie. What goes with Cookie? Cookie Crisps? Got it. I also would love you to bring back Sean's shitty team. I feel like you had another name here too when I played you. But Cookie Crisp, I just don't really get what the crisp has to do with it. I guess it's just a thing that has cookie in it. But there you go. That's my second to last favorite team. The third worst is Dak Prescott, although it actually made me chuckle because he took, 9 years to change his names from Never Neg Novum. The alliteration is gone, and now he's simply Dak Prescott. No funny, play on words, nothing at all. Just Dak Prescott. And I love it in a bad way. It's a bad name, but it made me chuckle. So there you go. Third worst team, Dak Prescott. Now we have the classic in the fourth worst team name. I guess you could call it I can't do the math the other way. But anyway, we have Metcalf's Shepherd. And I get it, like a shepherd for a calf, which is a baby cow. I'm pretty sure that shepherds are just with sheep, right? That's what shepherd comes from, the same as sheep. Shepherd, sheep. Pretty sure a calf would fall under a cowboy term or a rancher. So Metcalf's Shepherd, I saw you were trying to pigeonhole. You're trying to jam two players' names together, and I got where it was going. But then you also have just the W helmet, so you didn't even really add a picture to go along with it. Didn't do anything for me. I'm pretty sure maybe calves have shepherd, calf shepherd. I'm just gonna put a calf shapers. Nope, shepherd. Let's see, calf shepherd. Googling it. Adorable calf thinks it's a dog. Calf thinks he's a German shepherd, or doesn't look like there's any shepherds that have calves here on Google except for German shepherds. So, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. You went for it. It was just a swing and a miss, in my opinion. And then the next one is Mix On, Mix Off. I actually kind of like this one, but obviously it's wax on, wax off, not mix on, mix off. So it's a little bit of a stretch in my opinion. For example, I could be watts on, watts off, and everyone would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? At least it would have the W and the A similar to wax on, wax off. But yeah, mix on, mix off, and then I guess you have, what is that, a man doing like some kung fu thing. Wax on, wax off. All right, the next one is rent tent wentz, and I actually like that one because I like the rent tent, the whole rent tent thing. I thought that was a really funny skit, I guess you'd call it. So there you go, rent tent wentz. It all rhymes. You gotta love it. And also apologies on Devontae Adams. I did not think he'd produce with 14 receptions for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's brutal. You're, in my opinion, the strong favorite right now. I know that Menzerling had a better score, but I think yours is more built on actual, I guess, repeatability. I think your team is going. I thought that there was a little bit of a fluke in the Menzerling. It was a little fluky in terms of Mostert, Brown, and T.Y. Hilton. I don't think they'll continue. And I also don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to pass for 4 touchdowns and 364 yards every single week. Just my opinion. We could definitely make shotgun bets on this. All right. So next up, I have Jarvis. You there? And I love it because I just watched all the Marvel movies, so it's very topical to me anyway. And I've never seen a name that kind of correlates, obviously, Jarvis Landry with Jarvis, the Iron Man Stark Enterprise AI. So there you go. I liked it. Good job, Bako. Then the next is We Demand a Chubbery, which of course is the play on the classic We Demand a Shrubbery from the Quest for the Holy Grail, Monty Python. I was a big Monty Python fan growing up. I watched all of Flying Circus, and some of the movies can be a little tough, but a classic is Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail. So watch it, Weaver. And then the next one, Colin didn't quite get this name, but it's a Prince of Hell Air, like the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. So I actually really liked that one. It took me a minute because I was like, is that a king of Hell Air? I didn't really get it. I was like, is there like something that I'm not getting? And then I realized it was the Prince of Hell Air, the Fresh Prince of Hell Air. So there you go. Will Smith in the building here. And then Bill actually has had 2 great team names. So he's my second favorite with Captain Hindsight. It's a topical meme for our league. We always talk about hindsight, and hindsight's 2020, blah, 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 blah. Thanks, Captain Hindsight. We've shared that GIF 1,000 times. So Captain Hindsight is great. It's also a great fantasy team name, kind of referring to how your draft sucked or didn't suck. Captain Hindsight. And a total eclipse. I thought it was total eclipse of the heart, but I love that name too. That was great. And then my absolute favorite one, of course, is We Built This City on Bark and Gold. Great team name. I love how you somehow got it to all fit there, and it all is very phonetic. And it's great. So there you go. That's my order. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. Give me your order. That'd be great. Leave it in the comments. Thumbs up, subscribe, whatever all the fucking YouTubers say. All right. So now we get to do the fun waiver review. Yay! Because the People's Podcast didn't do that. So let's look at these fab bids. Benny Snell Jr. At first I looked at this for $42 and I was like, that is far too much for a guy who's just not going to play in 2 weeks. But from Max, it makes a lot of sense because now he's basically locking down his players' production, his team's production for the entire year. Either Connor is healthy, he trots him out, or he's not healthy, and he trots Benny Snell Jr. out. And what that allows him to do is buy some peace of mind and also just completely own the Steelers' backfield and play according to injury. So he's basically paying for peace of mind and just the entire share of Pittsburgh's backfield, which I think will be a good backfield this year. The worst thing that could happen is Benny Snell balls out for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, excuse me. And then right after that, James Conner comes back. Now they're in some kind of nightmarish timeshare. So then you spent $42 on a nightmarish timeshare. Dak Prescott with 36, Zerling 31, McSoff with 25, Your Atonement with 18. I thought he'd be a fun rental. Cookie Crisps with 8, and then Dent Wentz with $3 on Benny Snell Jr. Can't imagine that would work. All right, the next is Marquez Valdez Scantling, a $10 buy for Dak Prescott. 6 targets, 4 receptions. I think he only played on 40% of snaps. He's a clear 3 back receiver. So don't love it, but I mean, I like Lazard better. That's why I drafted him. And he played 60% of snaps. I'm pretty sure almost 70. So I'm not sure if I love that $10 wager, but hey, why not? Next is Dallas Goddard, a really good. I'm shocked Dallas Goddard wasn't drafted. I guess it's not sexy to draft the second tight end on a team, but when that second tight end is outperforming the lead tight end and will probably take over, I imagine. Zach Ertz looked like the wheels were falling off last year, and then the starting game, other than that touchdown he had, it was miserable. So $12 for maybe tight end 2, 9 targets, 8 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Gotta love that, especially for $12. And then Russell Gage. I do like how Cookie Crisp was the only one. I know I get the strategy. You want to have multiple waivers on the same guy. Blah 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 blah. But it's fucking hilarious to see that the only person who wanted Russell Gage was Cookie Crisps, and he wanted him twice and for the same price. Sorry, I thought that was funny. So he had 12 targets, 9 receptions, 114 yards. Will that be sustainable? I really doubt it, but if it is, what a steal. And then finally, Noah Fant, who had a pretty good Monday night. I thought he kind of capitalized on the 2 missing wide receivers that the Broncos had. Weaver's boy Carlos Sutton. If you guys remember, he was calling him Carlos Sutton the entire podcast last year. 5 receptions, 81 yards, a touchdown. Gotta love it. I actually really like Noah Fant going into this draft, but I was able to get 2 tight ends that I like better, so I did not go for him. All right, so that's the review. Let's see if there's any added players after that. And then Seattle defense picked up Ben Roethlisberger for free. Picked up by Dent Wentz, Scotty Miller. Not sure I love it. 6 targets, 5 receptions. But he's a white guy, and Tom Brady loves to throw to those guys. Cleveland defense picked up. Arizona's defense picked up. And if you haven't picked up a defense, oh man, there's actually a lot more here. Jesus, I just opened up Arizona defense by hindsight. Keenan Cole, hopefully he doesn't continue to outproduce my boy, DJ Chark. O.J. Howard. It's kind of a gamble. It's going to be back and forth, I think, between him and Gronk. So kind of a dart throw every week, I feel like, for O.J. Howard. And then my boy, Mason Crosby, $1 waiver. I guess I forgot about him. I just figured that offense is going to be really good. And Kaimi maybe was really bad for me. And I think Houston might actually struggle this year offensively. So I'd like some consistent kicking opportunities, so Mason Crosby. And then I guess there's one more. Logan Thomas for $2, Washington tight end for Built the City on Bark and Gold, doubling down on tight ends. And one of them might pan out. I guess you'll play based on matchups. All right. So I'd like to introduce my first sponsor. It's the People's Podcast. They've actually been sponsoring me. They love me. They want me to continue. They're financing me. They're sending me a lot of money via Venmo, PayPal, like the Cash App, all of it. So I'd like to send a big shout out to Karen Beaver and Colin Grawl. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. And all the money that you guys have been constantly sending me. That's really great. It helps us continue. It helps fund my researchers, my stats people. So next time I need to figure out the whole Pebley Kittle thing. That would be great. So let's go ahead. And last year I kind of fucked up. Last week I fucked up. I didn't do any matchups. I forgot that was a segment I usually did. So I only have about 15 minutes left before I cut this thing short. Take notes, People's Pod. I was 37-15 in my official picks last year, which I recorded by going to matchups and clicking pick to win, which Colin hasn't done for 2 years. So technically, Colin, you're 0 for 0, as is everyone else in the league. So please start registering your picks, pick to win on each matchup so we can actually keep track of this easily and not on some plate somewhere. All right. I was 37-15 last year. Colin Weaver didn't register any picks. So as far as I'm concerned, we're all 0-0. Colin would probably embrace that considering his abysmal 3-3. All right. So I'm going to start off with my matchup because it's right here. It's Your Atonement versus Built This City on Bark and Gold. Great team name, Pebbles. Love it. Just fully embracing it, but how about we change that? Avatar, you're not the walrus anymore. Deshaun Watson versus Kyler. I think the slight edge has to be for Kyler here. He's playing Washington, whose defense looks stout, but I don't think they're going to be the same as a Baltimore defense, especially when they take that huge lead, then pin their ears back and sack me 1,000 times. So I think this could be a tough week for Deshaun Watson. So slight advantage, Murray. And then the wide receiver battle, we have Robinson, Chark, and Brown versus N'Keal Harry, who had 6 targets, 5 yards, 39 yards. Cam is not much of a passer. I'm not breaking any news here. I doubt. Excuse me, let me get some water here. All right. I doubt that he's going to have much production. He might have like some kind of boomy touchdown every now and again, but not anything with consistency. Keenan Allen, disappointing. 4 receptions, 37 yards. That's very A.J. Brownish. All right. Cooper Kupp, also disappointing. So basically everyone was disappointing. I'm going to take my wide receivers. I think Chark has a better game against Tennessee. Can't really be worse than 3 targets. So I think he does better. I think Allen Robinson feasts against New York Giants. And A.J. Brown, I think, feasts against Jacksonville. He definitely did last year. So I'll take my wide receivers. All right, let's see what we got next. We got Christian McCaffrey and Chris Carson versus Saquon and Todd Gurley against Dallas. Christian McCaffrey against Tampa Bay is going to be tough. He did poorly against them last year. They had a stout run defense. I think I said earlier they limited Alvin Kamara to like close to 1 or I think under 2 yards to carry. So it's going to be tough. Saquon Barkley against Chicago, the Bears. I'm trying to click on this, but it keeps showing the forecast. He was 15 attempts for 6 yards. I can't really pick him over McCaffrey. Then Carson, I'm really worried about him, actually. There's a lot of... He played on 28 of 62 snaps. That was scary. So I'm a little worried about him. Let's just put it that way. Todd Gurley, he fell into the end zone, plodded his way to 14 attempts, 56 yards. He played 45% of snaps as well. So it's kind of a wash in my opinion. I'm going to take McCaffrey, so I'll take my guys over your guys. I'll take Darren Waller over Goddard. I'll take my flex Malcolm, the hipster Brown, over James Robinson. I guess he was the lead back in Jacksonville. So we have two B-side lead backs. We'll see how that goes. I guess I like the matchup better against Philly, so I'll take Brown. And then I think your Buffalo defense is going to do really well against Miami. I'm hoping that the Clippers continue to suck like they did against the Nuggets. And anyway, who gives a fuck about kickers? I'm going to pick myself, so pick to win. Here we go. That's how you do it, People's Pod. All right, Jarvis, you there versus Men's Zerling. 127 projection versus 124. Old bronze bacon. And, yeah, Men's Zerling. Brady versus Rodgers. It's Rodgers, Thielen, Hill, and Emmanuel Sanders suddenly taking a big, probably a big target share in that offense now that Michael Thomas is hurt against Brown, Fuller, and Hilton. I thought they're all boomy players. Hilton has gotten production in the past. Not sure that he'll continue. He's looking a little long in the tooth. And Brown, he did have 10 targets, but I never think that offense is going to throw the ball a lot, so it's tough to say. I'm going to take Jarvis, you there, Tyler Bacon's wide receivers. So then we have Henry and Singletary. Don't love Singletary. He only had 9 attempts last week for 30 yards. Plus his name's Devin. Can't really support a guy named Devin. So we have Devin versus Alvin. I like Alvin, especially against the Raiders. I think he's going to get 20-plus points. And Mostert against the Jets, I guess you got to love it. 15 attempts is not really that poor. I'm going to go with Men's Zerling here. And then you got to pick Kelsey, the best tight end in the league. 14 points is a lot to be projected, but I'll take it against Hockencock. And then, of course, Jarvis, you there, Landry, who I think is injured. Let's see. It's questionable for Thursday night. Not good to be questionable on Wednesday going into Thursday. Did he practice? He was limited Wednesday. Tough. Against Jerick McKinnon. So you're starting 2 San Francisco running backs against the Jets. Bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see what plays off. I guess that's just because Godwin is questionable. He's in the concussion protocol. Is what it says in the advice. So he's not going to play. I guess that's why Scotty Miller was picked up. Anyway, I guess I wouldn't really. Maybe Swift. Yeah, after that drop touchdown, that was tough. So I guess I'm going to pick. This is tough. I'm going to pick Men's Zerling. I think he's going to win. I'm going to take it. All right. Next matchup: Cookie Crisp versus We Demand a Chubbery. Cookie Crisp. It's Stafford versus Mahomes. You got to go with Mahomes. I think it's pretty obvious. You got Cooper against Atlanta. That's a feast. Hopkins against Washington. Again, we'll see if Washington's defense is really stout. He killed it last week. I would say Cooper will probably outperform Hopkins. Odell Beckham Jr. is trash, especially on a Thursday night when offenses are all discombobulated. Darius Slayton. Yeah, apparently he did really well, huh? 9 targets, 6 yards, 102 yards, or 6 receptions, 102 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, it's pretty damn good. I think Darius Slayton will outperform OBJ. We'll see, though, huh? And then Gage versus Robbie Anderson. I think that is going to be a high-scoring affair. I'm going to pick Gage over Robbie Anderson. I think Robbie Anderson is the new Ted Ginn Jr. So, God, this is tough. It's kind of a toss-up. I'm going to give it slightly to Cookie Crisp because a lot of toss-ups. All 3 could really go either way. I like Cook better than Chubb. I think Chubb's going to lose that job eventually. He had 10 carries. Not good. Not good. And I think Kareem Hunt is more talented. And then Montgomery, who was a nice surprise. He looked really good. 13 attempts only, but he's coming off an injury. So I think he'll only continue to improve against Aaron Jones, who's better and a better offense. So I guess I will go with Cookie Crisp just because I like Cook so much. I do like Jones, but I like Cook better. So I guess it'd be Cook versus Jones and Chubb versus Montgomery. I think it'll be very close. This is a very close matchup. Evan Ingram had a really tough week last week against Ertz, who I know won't get 10 points. I'm just a Zertz. I read it like straight across. Zach Ertz hater. So I'm going to go. God, he had 7 targets. Evan Ingram could be something good. I'm going to go Ingram. All right. And then Crowder, I think, is the only option in New York. So 13 targets, 7 receptions. He looked great. And then Evan's always favorite player, Ronald Jones II. Looks like he played really well. Doesn't look like he's going to. I mean, he's playing against the Panthers. Let's be honest here. He's going to do well. So I'll take Jones. And overall, I'm going to take We Demand a Chubbery to win this one. I'm not even going to talk about defense and kickers. All right. So there you go. Let's go to the next one. We have Captain Hindsight versus Metcalf's Shepherd. Let's go. All right, Lamar Jackson versus Matt Ryan. This could be a shootout with Matt Ryan, but I really like Lamar Jackson against Houston. Mahomes made it look so easy. So I'm going to go Lamar Jackson, obviously, my boy, my championship bro. Woods versus Lockett. I think Lockett underperformed last week, right? I guess 8 for 92 is not bad. Woods, 8 for 6 for 105. That's a very close matchup. Diggs actually outshined his expectations, I feel like, with 9 targets. Again, is Josh Allen going to be throwing it that much? I don't think so. So I think he's bound to regress, especially against Miami. I think they'll be very successful on the ground against him. Smith-Schuster had a great week, 6 of 6, 2 touchdowns, including a garbage time one. Against Denver, though, it's going to be a little tougher, so I'm going to take Diggs. And Gallup, that was an atrocious pass interference penalty against him. It just sucks that an entire game can change. They were basically in field goal range, ready to get that tie, and then they call that after the defensive player hooked him. There has to be some way to review game-changing plays like that. I know that reviews take time, and that's obnoxious, but I think that you got to find a way to make it right, and that was not good. I would be fucking livid if I were a Cowboy fan. All right. Oh, and to clear up the controversy, it's not fake news, it's old news. Jerry Jones was one of the biggest voices, loudest voices in the room against kneeling, and the NFL the owners agreed to fine players, I think it was $10,000 a game for kneeling. And they made them sit in the locker room if they were planning on kneeling. So it was so weird too. I read like the league instruction from 2018. It was like, players will stand and show respect for the flag and national anthem. It's like, god damn, dude, what is this? Fucking North Korea? Anyway, wrong side of history shit. Jerry Jones has been a douche historically. I will still drink and say, fuck you, Jerry Jones. All right. So then we have Gallup over Paris Campbell. I like Gallup. Kenyon Drake, Ezekiel Elliott. I like Zeke. Dobbins, I thought that was a little fluky last week. 7 attempts for 22 yards and 2 touchdowns. Little vulture-y. Definitely like Eclipse of the Heart better. So Eckler, I think 14.8 is a little high, though. And then Jonnu Smith versus Noah Fant. I like Noah Fant better. So let's see. Where am I at here? God. I think I like Bill's team to win. I don't want to like it, though. Then we got Captain Hindsight, Nyheim Hines against Metcalf's Shepherd. I don't think that Metcalf will get more points than Hines. All right. And then Baltimore defense, Pittsburgh defense. All right, doesn't matter. I'm going to pick Captain Hindsight to win this one. I don't want to. Fucking Chicken Ranch Bill. All right. Don't want to. Now we have Prince of Hell Air, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen. That's kind of a toss-up, but I guess you'll take Josh Allen in the matchup against Miami rather than New England. Terry McLaurin against DJ Moore. I don't think DJ Moore is going to be very good this year. He had 9 targets, but they weren't very viable targets. I feel like it never felt like he was close to like breaking one or getting a big gain. But I do like him better than McLaurin, so I'm going to take DJ Moore. Watkins, was that a fluke against Calvin Ridley? Was that a fluke? Who's fluking? Who's not fluking? Tough to say. I'm going to lean towards Calvin Ridley not fluking. So DJ, Calvin Ridley. And then Tyler Boyd versus Kevins. Kevins had 4 targets for 1 reception and a touchdown. Saved his day. Lamented not moving. It just basically looks like, 4 targets is tough. But Tyler Boyd is also tough. I don't know if I like the 3rd wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. Sorry, 2nd wide receiver, I guess. Maybe 3rd, I don't know. So I guess I'm going to go with Mixoff for the quarterback and wide receivers. Gotta love Hilaire against the Clippers over Joe Mixon, although he's playing Cleveland. Connor's questionable, but if not, then he'll just throw Benny Snell in there. So I like him better than Sanders, who's also questionable. He's on track to play, but, how much will he play? How effective will he be? Who knows? So I'll take the running backs of Prince of Hilaire. And then you got to take Andrews over Hurst. So this is a very close one, but with the upside of Wilson, McLaurin, and Watson, and even Evans, I'm going to go with Maxwell Dunn on that one. All right. I think he picks up that win and sleeps oh so soundly. And finally, we have Dak Prescott versus Wentz. Dak Prescott versus Wentz was very disappointing last week. Hopefully he bounces back. But the Rams have an improved defense, and Dak is going against Atlanta, so I got Dak. Thomas is doubtful, not going to play, so who's he going to throw in there? Valdez-Scantling, okay. Valdez-Scantling versus Devontae Adams, that's pretty obvious. Julio Jones versus A.J. Green, got to love Julio. CeeDee Lamb, I think that's going to be a good play there versus Marvin Jones Jr. I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb. So I'm going to go Scott Novum because Julio Jones matches up well with Devontae, but then the rest of it is kind of, I feel like, better. But it's close. And it's like 2nd and 3rd wide receiver. So Jonathan Taylor-Thomas against Josh Jacobs. Got to like Josh Jacobs against New Orleans. I think Minnesota's going to tighten up. Taylor probably will get like 50 yards or so. Ingram, his role is looking real suspect all of a sudden. Didn't even get the goal line carries against David Johnson, sorry. I'm so used to seeing D. Johnson for Houston. David Johnson, who looked good until the game script kind of went sideways. Duke Johnson got injured. So I'm not sure how injured Duke Johnson is actually, but David Johnson should have a big day. I like Jacobs and Johnson. Sounds like a law firm. Hunter Hurst Henry versus Jared Cook. How did Jared Cook do? I guess he had a solid day, huh? Hunter Henry, I liked him. He did well too. They basically had almost identical days. Funny. 8 for 5 for 70, or 7 for 5 for 80, and then 8 for 5 for, god dang, go away. And then 8 for 5 for 73. So very close. Moss, didn't love him. Didn't have very good production at all against Brown. My boy Hollywood, Championship Brown. So I'm going to go Hollywood, and it's pretty easy for me to pick Wentz. All right, so there it is. That's this week's nice, concise, 3 minutes over 45 minutes podcast. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you to the Pretender Pod for your awesome sponsorship and all the money you've been sending me. That's really nice of you and very supportive. So I'm just sitting here in my office. I'm actually touching my championship trophy now, and I close my eyes and look at the names of champions past, and I just imagine us together, us champions, Adam Bolenbaugh, Tyler Bacon, Andrew Pebley, Bill Arnott, Maxwell Dunn, sitting in a circle holding hands. Just a couple of best friends hanging out.